The Rockets survived. The Thunder have dominated. The Magic have shocked us all. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to go through all of the NBA first round playoff series and temperature check them all, see how they're doing, and most importantly, give you an updated prediction. Before we get into today's episode, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. If you're a fan of a team still alive, let me know your thoughts. Are you feeling good? You feeling bad? Of course, I always want to see what you guys have to say. And also, what has been your favorite series to this point? I can guarantee you, if you're not a Thunder fan, it hasn't been this one. Because the 1-8 matchup has gone exactly as expected, as the Thunder are on their way to sweeping the Phoenix Suns tonight. And look, the talent disparity is too large. The Thunder are the best team in the NBA, even without their second best player in Jalen Williams. And they are going to sweep the Phoenix Suns. Now, there's certain questions about the reffing in this series. Look, drawing fouls is a skill. Now, are some of them absolutely atrocious calls? Absolutely. And yes, at certain points in this series, I don't believe the Suns have gotten the same whistle as the Oklahoma City Thunder. But at the end of the day, the Thunder are still going to win this series, and we expect that in pretty handed fashion. I projected it to be a 4-1. It looks like it will be a full-on sweep. The only reason to be concerned about the Thunder going forward, and Thunder fans, let me know, is Jalen Williams. Man, this hamstring, it continues to linger. He continues to deal with it. You would have expected him to kind of be fully recovered to this point in the season, as he sat out the majority of the regular season, but it is still lingering. It is still giving him issues, and if he is not 100%, I don't know if the Thunder can go out there and win the finals. Can they? Yes, but I think their chances drop off dramatically. Now, surprisingly, this has been one of the funnest series to watch, in my opinion, as I wasn't expecting this to be much of a series at all. But with no Luka, no Austin Reeves, a 41-year-old LeBron James is playing incredible basketball. And we'll start with the Lakers here because their side is pretty simple. With how well LeBron is playing, with the fact that you are up 3-1, heading back to LA with Austin Reeves returning to the lineup, I do expect them to close it out at home. But for the Rockets, man, oh man, that game 3 is going to hurt. You could have been going 2-2 back to LA in a best of 3 with Kevin Durant returning to the lineup and a Lakers team with an older star in LeBron who's now going to get more tired as the playoffs go on. So for the Rockets, being down 3-1 instead of being tied 2-2, I mean, that is all the difference in the world. Now, I have to ask this question for Houston Rockets fans. What is the next step? If you go down 4-1 in this series, you had a roster last year that showed life, showed promise. They were the 2 seed and they ultimately lost in the first round. This year, it's the same story, except you added Kevin Durant to the lineup. So to circle back, what is that next step? Is it trading one of these young guys in Amen Thompson? I know that sounds absolutely absurd and I don't recommend it. Is it trading Sengun? I think that's more of a popular pick. Is it moving off of Kevin Durant? If it is one of these younger stars, it begs the question, how much more do you want to speed up this process to compete exactly right now instead of letting these young guys grow together for the future? For the Rockets, man, a lot of interesting decisions ahead, but if you lose back-to-back years in the first round, now you added Kevin Durant, there's going to be a lot of pressure on them going forward, so I wouldn't be shocked if they make a big push for Giannis, or maybe they trade away a name that we wouldn't expect. Now, I was fully expecting to come into this video for this series and say experience matters. But those, I guess, doubts I had on my favorite to win the Western Conference in the pre-playoff prediction video were put to rest. The Blazers blew an 18-point lead at home in Game 4, and I believe that was their last, I guess, heavyweight swing. Because the Spurs now going back to home in a best of 3, they win 80% of the games at home this season. I do think they will close it out in gentleman's sweep fashion. If you cannot beat Victor Wembanyama on a minute restriction, who, by the way, incredible. I think he had 7 or 8 blocks in Game 4. That was a very fun game to watch, and De'Aaron Fox led the way, being the veteran that he is. If the Blazers can't beat that version of the Spurs, I cannot see them beating a rowdy San Antonio crowd looking to close out their first playoff series in some time. So the Spurs, I fully expect them to win this series 4-1, but for the Blazers, there's been some rumblings around them making a push for Giannis Antetokounmpo. That would be fun. And Giannis going to the West, I mean, that Western Conference, if it couldn't already, gets even more star-studded. So interesting offseason ahead for the Blazers. who are one of my favorite teams to watch all season long. Now, if you want to talk about shock factor, I mean, look no further. The Denver Nuggets, I projected to win this series in 7 games as they are taking on the Timberwolves. They've met twice before in the postseason. Both teams have won a series, and both series went farther than expected. But for this go around, the Nuggets have just come out flat. And I understand the numbers may look good for Jamal Murray or Nikola Jokic, but I can promise you this entire roster has played down as a whole. They've played just really bad basketball, right? Especially for the Denver Nuggets, who are an experienced unit. They've been here many times before. They just look like they're not ready for the moment. And they look undermanned, to be completely honest with you. They do have life, though, if you want to give them a chance, because now Anthony Edwards is done for at least this series and next, and Dante DiVincenzo is done for the entire season. Get well soon to both of them. But they're both out. So when you take down that 1A guy for a franchise in the Timberwolves, it gives the Nuggets some life, right? Now that you're looking at a series with no top-end guy on the other side of the court, you could take advantage of this 3-1 deficit that you've been in many times before. By the way, let's remember, the Nuggets came back from 3-1 twice in the bubble in the same playoff run. So they are used to overcoming this really tall mountain and task because they've done it so many times before. But for the Timberwolves, the difference is here, they're playing spirited basketball, with or without Anthony Edwards playing at his highest of levels. I do think the Timberwolves will probably drop Game 5 in Denver, but they will close it out in front of their home crowd in Game 6, and let's say Ayu Dosunmu and Julius Randle combined for 50 to push the Timberwolves to the next round. Now, for the Timberwolves, it's as simple as this. If you're able to get past the Nuggets, huge win. Chris Finch continues to show he is valuable for this franchise, and he continues to show why he's one of the best coaches in the game. For the Nuggets, man, I don't know what's next. You don't really have that much flexibility as far as cap room, but you need to make a move. You cannot continue to waste these prime years of Nikola Jokic, and hey, you need Jokic to play better defensively. So what can we bring in offensively to ease that load on potentially the best player in the world? But for the Timberwolves, man, I hope they got some steroids there in Minnesota. We need to get those into Anthony Edwards and get him back on the court as healthy as possible, because I want to see this Timberwolves team make yet another crazy run to the conference finals. Now, a dogfight in the East has been the Pistons at the 1 seed and the Magic as the 8 seed. And the Magic have shocked us all, picking up a game in Detroit and now a game in Orlando. And this has been a very fun series. Now, for the Magic, it is simple as this. They match up extremely well. Their guys are playing together. They're playing spirited basketball, and they have role players like Jalen Suggs, like Wendell Carter, who I've been raving about all season long, playing their best basketball impact-wise and potentially numbers-wise as well. I haven't looked into the analytical department as far as that goes, but they've been the MVP so far for the Magic in this series. Now, for Detroit, it is simple as this. Your downsides are JB Bickerstaff, his lack of adjustments in this series, his continued history now to this point of refusing to make adjustments on the original game plan. I'm a Cavaliers fan, and this ties in together, so stick with me. As a Cavaliers fan, we saw so many times that when JB made the playoffs, we had so many early blunders and losses because he refused to change the game plan. He is doing that yet again in a new city, in a new team with the Detroit Pistons. We saw it last year against the Knicks. We're seeing it yet again with home courts against the Orlando Magic. So the lack of improvement and adjustments from JB Bickerstaff, but also the lack of trade at the midseason mark will be the downside. And really, if Detroit were to lose in this first round, that's going to be where we point our finger, because they had the opportunity. They had the capital to move and make a trade for a bigger name like a Lauri Markkanen, somebody that could secondary shot create and help out Cade Cunningham on the offensive side of the ball. I understand Jalen Duren's playing like an all-NBA player, but he should be the third man on any championship level team. So the lack of trade and JB Bickerstaff being who he is, I could see being the reason Orlando comes away with this series, which I project them to. By the way, we got to have an upset in the first round, and I'm going to predict Orlando, playing the spirited basketball that they are, will win this series in front of their home crowd in 6 games. But Now for Orlando, I want to throw this scenario out there. Right now, Orlando, if they were to win this series, they would carry that momentum into a second round series against a Toronto team that can't score the basketball, or the Cavaliers team that always seems like the lights are too bright. And again, I'm a Cavaliers fan. I don't know if we beat the Magic, to be completely honest with you, especially seeing how we played in Toronto in games 3 and 4. On paper, I think the Cavaliers should go to the conference finals. But Orlando, if they were able to carry the momentum from beating the number one seed, I can see this being this year's Pacers where they make the conference finals out of nowhere. So for the Magic, you got exciting roads ahead, but you got to take care of the Pistons. And for the Pistons, you're down 1-2. Can you answer the call? That starts tonight. I'm excited to see. Now for the Cavaliers and the Toronto Raptors, I would have wrote this series off after game 2. The way that the Cavs were able to dismantle this elite Darko Rajakovic-led Raptors unit on defense, it was exciting to see. I mean, the Great Whites were showing up and showing out. As far as Dean Wade, Sam Merrill, and Max Strus, these guys were shooting the lights out and playing good defense, and they were the reason why we won both games at home. But for the games in Toronto, we can't score the basketball. We've lost all confidence. It seems like we are acting like we've been here before and we've done it at a very high level before, which we haven't. We have gotten into favorable playoff spots, but as far as these playoff series that they are dogfights, they require that second gear. The Cavaliers just simply don't have that in our current core. If this is a home-and-home series, I'm going to expect the Cavaliers win this in 7, but it's going to come down to, this is a series where if we can play our normal brand of basketball, it's going to come down to tough shot making. And I trust the Cavaliers players to do that more so than the Raptors. So I will say Cavs in 6 or 7. Regardless, my Cavaliers will walk away with my original prediction, and they will win the series. In the 2-7 matchup, we have the Celtics and the Sixers, and this is as simple as it gets. Philly's outmatched. They had a great performance from VJ Edgecombe that got them game 3, excuse me. But Boston has rebounded extremely well after that singular loss. I do expect them to close this game, the series out at home in front of their home crowd in 5 games. And if they were to do this, they would potentially take on the Knicks in the second round, a team they lost to in the second round last year in the playoffs. So, hey, going into that series against the Knicks, you're coming in more rested to my projections, and you're going to have revenge on your mind. So, for the Celtics, I do expect them to probably dominate the Sixers here in Game 5, but also the Knicks in round number 2. So I'm going to stick with my projections here. The Celtics win this pretty handily, but for the Sixers, what is the future of Joel Embiid? Because even though he's such a talented player, he's a franchise legend. What do you do with him? Because it seems like when he's on the court, you're a worse team somehow, some way. This is the weird workarounds in the sports world. What do you do with Embiid? I don't think there's any team that's going to take his contract or take him due to his availability, but it seems as though he needs to take a step back because you are better when he's not on the court. It's weird. I get it, but interesting road ahead for Phoenix dealing with their star player. Now, the last series is the New York Knicks and the Atlanta Hawks, as the Atlanta Hawks have won 2 games in this series, both by exactly 1 point, and CJ McCollum has been the leader of both of those big-time wins. But I do expect the Knicks going back to New York in front of a loaded, sold-out Madison Square Garden crowd in a best-of-3 in that situation. I do think that's going to come down to late-game shot making, and I'm going to trust Jalen Brunson more than I trust all these younger players and CJ McCollum of the Atlanta Hawks. So give me the Knicks in 6 games in what has been a very up and down, fast-paced series that has been as expected. So my original prediction in this series was Knicks in 6. I'm going to stick with that, even though I can easily see it going 7. So I just wanted to check in and give you guys my temperature check on every single series, what I'm thinking, what I'm seeing, and the big storylines that have come from all of it. Of course, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. And as you do that, help us get to 18,000 subscribers. Man, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Every like, subscription, comment, everything goes a super long way, and it's absolutely free. So if you have that ability, I thank you for taking the few seconds to support.